Hi there, I'm Dana Piles. I'm with the Public Defender's Office. So I joined AWLA, the Women Lawyers Association, when I was thinking about coming back to law. I had taken some time off, stayed home with a child. Now I was looking to get back into the practice, and I'd called a girlfriend, wanting to know about networking and how best to get my feet wet again. And she recommended the Women Lawyers Associations.
Hi, I'm Paige Martin. I'm an assistant attorney, city attorney for the city of Phoenix. Well, it was just great to meet all these women who were in the profession. Thought this is an organization that is vibrant, and I liked that. So that's why I joined. I've been president of AWLA, president of Maricopa chapter. I'm on the board of directors for AWLA. I'm on the steering committee for Maricopa chapter and have been since about 1992. The Arizona Women Lawyers Association is a statewide organization. It encompasses women lawyers and judges, male lawyers and judges, and law students. There was a very small group of people in Maricopa who were female, and they started having lunch together. Sandra Day O'Connor, Mary Schroeder, other people like that who were really kind of pioneers of women in the law. They used to meet for lunch. And then there was a group in Pima County, also very small. And as the groups were growing, they decided to actually band together to make a statewide organization, late 70s and early 80s, that all of this was kind of coming to fruition. So they finally did form one group, but recognizing the differences that we have, the different, the population difference, the needs are different in different parts of the state. We do have the two main chapters and then the smaller chapter in northern Arizona to just meet the needs of the groups geographically. So it's my understanding that's how it came together. Those women who were forerunners were really the people who were finding each other because there were so few of them. We have 3 different chapters. We have a chapter in Maricopa County, one in northern Arizona, and one in southern Arizona. So we have different committees in different chapters, as well as the board of directors has their own committees. Maricopa chapter, we have 10 committees. It's a board of directors that oversees the entire statewide organization, and then each chapter has a steering committee that oversees the activities of that chapter. In Maricopa, as I said, we have 10 committees. We have a combination community service and social committee. When I was in law school in the late 80s and early 90s, it still was primarily men in my law school classes. I think women also didn't get very far in the appointment process. And now there's a much more recognition of how important it is to make sure that not only women are represented, but our community at large is represented on the bench. I've had male attorneys tell me that I'm too emotional. I found out when I was at a law firm that somebody down the hall who wasn't willing to be there late at night, who wasn't willing to be there when needed on emergency basis like I was, who frankly just did not work as hard as I did, who was younger than I am, less experienced, but male, was making $25,000 more than I was. In the early 90s, it was not uncommon for male attorneys to be dismissive of women in our profession. And there were lots of ways they showed that, but the most common way was to use endearments when speaking to us. Honey, sweetie, darling, that kind of thing. I remember very clearly being in Commissioner Nancy Lewis's antechamber. She was in her office and her door was cracked, and I was sitting with her judicial assistant, and a male attorney came in, and I had somebody with me from the AG's office, and he looked at her and he said, "Are you the little girl from the Attorney General's office?" Commissioner Lewis burst out of her office. She was irate, and she told him, "You do not talk to anyone like that. You do not speak to these attorneys in that way." She was furious. I'd never seen her like that. I don't think I ever saw her like that again. He certainly treated us much better after Commissioner Lewis took his hat off. We do a lot of social events. We help people who are applying for the Superior Court, do mock interviews for them. Our community service committee has done things like packed food at St. Mary's Food Bank. We've cooked dinner at Ronald McDonald House.
I really like the luncheons. They're held at the University Club. They're typically once a month. It's the last Wednesday of the month. It's a CLE of some sort, from people coming in and talking about SCOTUS to more niche practice, like these are the upcoming things on family law. We had a continuing ed on AI and ChatGPT and how to use that or not use that. So it's been interesting CLEs. I think be a CLE that any attorney would be interested in attending. It has provided networking in that I have faces that I have sat with at the luncheons, and I know them. You get in, you start meeting people right away. I have spoken to other women, and when I see those women out court or around the courthouse, there's usually that note of recognition of, oh, hey, I know you. You know, you were at my table, or you weren't at my table, but I saw you at the meeting because you spoke. So you walk out of there with some feeling of who everybody is at the end of the meetings.
We have a mother's forum that supports women who are moms and working. People need a place that they feel safe to come have those conversations, and they need the support group, and we provide that. We provide the safe space and the support.
They also have a mom's Zoom meeting, and it's the chance to chat with other women, and that probably is very specific. How do you manage being newborns? Breastfeeding still. There were a lot of very specific issues that I think that group talks about. I think they also are looking for somebody who is in a similar situation of, hey, I'd like to have some friends beyond being at work and being at home with my child.
Our goal is really to support the people who are living the situation. So that's what the Mothers Forum is about. And we've tried to do things, for example, in Mothers Forum. I was actually working on something with Mothers Forum where we could not figure out how women who were breastfeeding could deal with that issue if they're attorneys at court, or if you bring a client with you for a hearing and your client's breastfeeding. So I contacted the Maricopa County Superior Court and asked if they had a room, a mother's room. And they said no. But what happens is people go knock on the jury commissioner's door and ask her if they can use her office to pump. I said, well, I don't think that's an acceptable solution for this problem. The Maricopa Court did put a mother's room in. I then called Pima County Superior Court and got a kind of perplexed answer from the presiding judge. I don't know what we do. And then got an answer back that they didn't have anything in place, and they put in a mother's room. We tend to be a majority in public practice. And a lot of that has to do with the demands on women to manage a home, children, the family life, everything that goes on at home. I think men are still learning to take equal responsibility for that. I think so too. And so public practice gives many women the opportunity to work a little bit more stable schedule. I think that's why you see more women in public practice than in private practice. And there is still a glass ceiling. A lot of the old guard left in big firms. We're seeing improvements. We are seeing, certainly locally, we've seen more women managing partners, which is very encouraging. But what we're seeing too is that, particularly in the private practice area, women are leaving the profession at a higher rate because they get burned out. They get burned out, they've got too much on their plates, they can't really do it all. And there's a lot of guilt associated with that for women who have families, because I can't count the number of times women have said to me, I feel like I'm not a good parent, or I'm not a good wife, or I can't be a good attorney. It's like I feel like something has always got to give, and I'm never 100% doing everything I need to do. That's very stressful. And so a lot of them have gone into their own solo firms. They've moved into alternative areas like mediation and arbitration, places where they have more control over their schedule and their lives. But it's still very hard for women that have kids. No matter what, there are always going to be unique issues for women lawyers, women judges. The state bar has gotten much better. The state bar has gotten much better. But for a long time, if you looked at the committees and the leadership and the people who spoke at their CLEs, it was all men. It was. It's gotten much, much better. And there's been a commitment by the leadership in the state bar to understand the issues of diversity and to recognize that working with the diverse population in law is critical, that it isn't the same group that it was years ago. I don't want to suggest they haven't done their job, because they have. They've really worked hard at that. And I think done an excellent job at increasing their reach out to the diverse groups, as has Maricopa County Bar. But Maricopa County Bar also has a great relationship with the affinity bars, the members of the collaborative bar. Yeah, they've been really very supportive of working with us. So yeah, so we have come a long way, but there is still a lot to do. We do want to support people in the community as well, and that's why we have our community service component. We recognize that lawyers don't have the best reputation, and we want people to know us as people. So we're hoping to reach out to more parts of the community here, doing that in collaboration with our sister bars, our affinity bar and the collaborative bar, as well as ourselves. So I hope that more people got to meet us and meet the legal community in general and understand who we are. But just coming and meeting us is, the first big step.
It's been great. I've enjoyed it. Again, it's the only group I do. It's the only association that I have. So I like staying involved. Yeah. I would have joined early on. I didn't know about it. It would actually be my recommendation for somebody to join as a law student. Looking back now, I would absolutely recommend any young person, and certainly myself, to have gone and done that earlier than I did.